Hollywood often tries to control stories, but some celebrities refuse to play along. Whether it's dodging inappropriate questions, shutting down biased assumptions, or calling out double standards, here are some celebrities who pushed back against agenda-driven interviewers. Scarlett Johansson has been in many interviews over the years, but one in particular stood out. It happened when she was promoting The Avengers in 2012. The movie was a huge hit and brought together heroes from different films into one big action-packed story.
Now, were you able to wear undergarments?
You're like the fifth person that's asked me that.
Well, no, because
What is going on?
The interviewer suddenly asked Johansson if she was able to wear undergarments under her Black Widow costume. It was a strange question, and Johansson was visibly surprised. She had been asked this multiple times that day, and she was clearly getting frustrated.
To ask somebody what kind of underpants they wear?
I didn't ask you what kind.
You just asked me if I was wearing any.
The interviewer tried to explain that he was asking because her outfit was skin tight, but Johansson wasn't having it. She made it clear that she wasn't going to discuss something so personal in an interview. She also questioned why people had suddenly started asking actors about their underwear. The situation was uncomfortable, but Johansson handled it with confidence. She made sure the interviewer knew that his question was out of line. Many people agreed with her response and criticized the way female actors often get different questions compared to their male co-stars. Other Avengers actors were not asked similar personal questions, which made it clear that there was a double standard. Samuel L. Jackson does not back down from tough questions as well.
There's been a lot of controversy surrounding the usage of the N-word in this movie, and
No, nobody.
When he was asked about the use of a certain word in Django Unchained, he turned the question back on the reporter. The reporter was clearly nervous and did not want to say the word. Jackson kept pushing him and told him to say it if he wanted to have a real conversation. The reporter refused, and Jackson laughed as he shut the question down.
Really? Seriously?
We're not going to have this conversation unless you say it. You want to move on to another question?
Jackson knew the question was meant to create controversy. He wanted to show how some people ask questions but are too afraid to discuss them fully. He challenged the reporter in a way that made it clear he was in control of the conversation. His approach was pretty much clear, and it made the reporter uncomfortable. Instead of giving a long answer, Jackson made the reporter face his own fear. The moment became one of the most unforgettable interviews in Hollywood. Many fans respected Jackson for not letting the question control the discussion. Jackson has always been known for speaking his mind. He does not allow reporters to twist his words or make him look bad. He believes in addressing issues directly, but he also knows when someone is trying to create drama. Lil Wayne has always been confident and outspoken, and one interview in particular showed just how firm he is in his beliefs. During an appearance on Fox Sports, he was asked about race relations in the United States. His response surprised many people and led to a strong public reaction.
Where are we in the United States of America in race relations and what you see from day to day in your life?
Instead of discussing struggles or challenges, he stated that he had never personally experienced racism. This statement immediately sparked debate. Many people felt that his words ignored the reality that others faced daily. Some took it as a sign that he believed racism did not exist at all. After the interview aired, the backlash was intense. Fans and critics expected him to clarify or adjust his statement.
That wave or whatever, that whole wave just went by me too fast for me even try to even give an opinion. So I just was like, oh, okay.
But in a follow-up interview, he made it clear that he had no regrets. His response was direct and forceful, showing that he had no interest in changing his stance. As the discussion escalated, he became frustrated and ended the interview abruptly. He made it clear that he did not want to be dragged into a larger debate about race. He insisted that his personal experiences shaped his perspective and that he would not speak for others. Denzel Washington also does not like when reporters ask questions that try to create conflict.
You know, race relationships have to do with race relationships. You're white or whatever you are, I'm black or whatever I am.
When he was asked if race relations have improved, he gave a thoughtful answer. He explained that race relations are about how people treat each other in daily life. He pointed out that no law can make people love or respect each other. It is up to individuals to communicate and understand one another. He also spoke about the idea that only a black director could tell a black story. He disagreed with this idea and gave an example. He said Steven Spielberg directed Schindler's List, a movie about Jewish history, and Martin Scorsese directed Goodfellas, a movie about Italian-American culture. He explained that culture and race are not the same. A director needs to understand the culture, but their race does not limit what stories they can tell. Denzel's answer was both logical and powerful. He did not get angry or defensive. Instead, he explained his point with intelligence. He made it clear that people should focus on talent and understanding rather than race. Morgan Freeman does not believe in dividing history by race. When asked about race and wealth, he made it clear that he does not think race is a barrier to success. He pointed out that both he and the reporter had worked hard to achieve their goals. He said people should focus on what they want and go after it, rather than blaming race for their struggles.
I think that race plays a part in wealth distribution, or either a mindset that you can't or
Today?
cannot. Yeah.
No.
One of his most famous moments came during a 60 Minutes interview. He was asked if he found Black History Month necessary. His response was simple and direct. He asked why his history should be limited to 1 month. When the interviewer tried to explain, Freeman turned the question around and asked which month was White History Month. The interviewer had no answer. Freeman explained that history should not be divided by race. He said that the best way to get rid of racism is to stop talking about it all the time. He told the interviewer to stop calling him a black man, and he would stop calling him a white man. He believed that seeing each other as just people would help eliminate racism. Bill Burr also does not like when people try to make comedy about gender debates.
You guys just fucking grow up and just sit down and write your own horse shit and come up with it. Start your own fucking show, have your own award show.
When asked if women can be funny, he immediately said yes. He was annoyed that people even asked this question. He pointed out that some people on the internet complain instead of creating their own opportunities. He told them to stop waiting for others to include them and to start their own shows. He explained that if men were not allowed into a certain comedy club, they would go and start their own. He said women should do the same instead of arguing about fairness. His point was simple. If you want success, you should go and get it instead of complaining.
Absolutely, but I'm an entrepreneur. I'm a white person.
The fuck up. It makes no difference whether you got a dick or a twat.
As the interview continued, Burr made it clear that he was tired of these debates. He said comedy is about being funny, not about meeting quotas. He believes people should focus on making great content instead of worrying about representation. Burr has always been known for his blunt honesty. He does not sugarcoat his opinions, and that is why fans love him. He believes comedy should be free from politics and social rules. His response shut down the question in a way that was both funny and direct. In the end, CEO Dana White is known for being direct and unfiltered. During a press conference, he was asked about the freedom UFC fighters have when speaking publicly. The reporter suggested that White gave them too much freedom, allowing them to say whatever they wanted without consequences. White immediately dismissed this idea.
You obviously give a long leash to your fighters about, what they can say when they are up there with a UFC microphone.
He made it clear that he does not control what fighters say. He believes in free speech and does not try to influence their opinions or statements. His response was short and firm, making it obvious that he did not think the question was valid. The reporter quickly moved on, realizing that White had no interest in debating the issue. This response was in line with White's usual approach.
Gonna control what people say, gonna tell people what to believe, gonna tell people.
Over the years, he has allowed fighters to express their views without interference. Unlike other sports organizations that try to limit what athletes can say, the UFC has never placed restrictions on speech. Fighters like Sean Strickland and Conor McGregor have made controversial statements, but the UFC has not punished them for it. Jerry Seinfeld does not like when people push ideas about race into comedy. One time, a reporter asked why most of the guests on his show were white men.
I have noticed that most of the guests are mostly white males of 22 episodes that you've had.
get into that.
No,
Seinfeld did not like this question at all. At first, he tried to answer with humor, but quickly got annoyed. He pointed out that the studio was full of people from different backgrounds. He asked why comedy should be forced to match the exact racial numbers of society. He made it clear that what really matters in comedy is if someone is funny.
Oh, this really pisses me off. But go ahead. Really pisses me off. People think it's the census or something. I mean, this is.
He explained that he has no interest in checking race or gender when picking guests. He said some people want to make sure everything is balanced perfectly, but he believes this ruins comedy. He argued that true comedy is about making people laugh, not about filling quotas. He also pointed out that when people overthink race in entertainment, it takes away from the real purpose of shows. Sean Strickland has never been afraid to speak his mind, but one press conference made headlines for all the wrong reasons. Before a big fight, he found himself in a heated exchange with reporters that quickly went viral.
I had the chance to interact with a more diverse crowd of.
Let me know. Are you gay?
Can I get an answer?
Well, no, I'm asking. This is the part. Are you a gay man?
A journalist from the Canadian Press brought up a political issue related to the Canadian government freezing bank accounts during the Freedom Convoy protests. Strickland started asking if the journalist supported the government's actions, refusing to let the topic go. When the reporter avoided answering, Strickland accused him of supporting harmful policies. The tension only grew from there. The reporter brought up past comments Strickland had made about LGBTQ+ issues. Years earlier, he had said that he would feel like a failure as a man if he had a gay son. The journalist wanted to know if he still believed that statement. Instead of responding calmly, Strickland lashed out. He criticized the media, calling reporters part of a larger societal problem.
The thing is the world's not buying it. The world's not buying your fucking bullshit you're fucking peddling. The world is not saying, you know what?
He continued by attacking mainstream media, accusing them of pushing false narratives. He dismissed the idea of gender discussions in schools and stated that people were rejecting certain ideologies. Now, before you leave, don't forget to comment down your thoughts on this. And while you're down there, make sure to hit that subscribe button as well.